Right. So the party is trying to walk away from these things. And then boom. So I think, and many people have said, I remember yesterday on this same network when we were doing the coverage, I had mentioned that I would have wished he was scripted. But later I realized that this was a rally ground, right? Rally ground, you might have pointers. Elsewhere, in developed democracies, you have pointers. Even if it's rally, you are allowed to have pointers and speak from the pointers, right? But here it's been extempore, right? Napo should have had pointers. Or know exactly what you're going to say. Stand in front of the mirror with people probably behind you, your handlers, and then role play.
But it's a rally.
That's the point.
It's a rally.
You can get carried away.
That's the strategy that the MPP decided to adopt in unveiling Napo, because one of the main reasons for choosing Napo is that they want to hold their base. Because if you look at the trajectory of elections here in this country, anytime, that's why they even said they want not less than 75%.
No, he's moving to 85%.
I mean 85%, right? So anytime,
NDC 15%.
anytime,
the NDC will get 15%.
Yeah. So anytime that the NPP in their own stronghold, the Ashanti region, have done 80%. It has always been a very massive win in the general elections.
They've never done 80%,
right? Anytime,
they've never done 80%.
I mean, anytime they've done 70, anytime they've done 75%.
Exactly.
Sorry, 75% is what I meant to say.
Exactly.
So anytime they've done the 80% is Napo's performance.
Oh yeah. Napo's performance in his constituency. He's done 84% before.
He's done 84%, 86% at a particular point in time. So yeah, I confused that a bit. So anytime the MPP has done 75% in the Ashanti region, they've been on top. Right. And so they want to really solidify that base and appeal to their people. That is why they went to Otumfuo. So as they are appealing to the Ashanti region, they will say that this one, so you people should all rally behind this particular candidate and get the candidates on the tickets into the Jubilee House. And that is why they decided to do all of this in the Ashanti region. To really send out that signal. And that's why they decided to do a rally. With Nana Jane, for example, I mean, she's an academic, and
the settings were different.
Yes, the settings were different, and they played to her strengths with the settings that they gave to her. And they felt that this one is something which was going to play to Napo's strengths, because they see him as a grassroots person. They describe Napo as a grassroots person, as somebody who can solidify the base of their party in the Ashanti region and all of that. And that's why they decided to use that approach. So they felt that if he had the opportunity to speak like that, he was going to say things that was going to whip up, the enthusiasm, of those in the Ashanti region, and send a strong signal that we are here, we are for you, and we can do this, And that was all they sought to do. But it looks like some of the comments that were made by Napo, like we are talking about, have not been too palatable.
Okay, so Napo got carried away before you come in. I think, from day one, I said that tapping Napo as a running mate is just to deploy one strategy. Get the numbers out in Ashanti region. That's not lost on anybody. If you are a political follower, you know that was it. There were others who countered the argument saying that, Napo has a national appeal. I said, no. With this particular tapping, you could tell that the focus is on the Ashanti region. That is not a wrong strategy.
It's one of the 1 million. They say they have 1 million ways of winning.
Good.
Perhaps it's one of the 1 million. So
no two ways about that. If it works, that is okay. Like I said, when you deploy a strategy, it can either work or fail. Right? Now, in doing that, the running mate has a tag to deal with. And yesterday, when they went to meet the Otumfuo, that's Anthony Amensia, he had mentioned it. That I didn't raise you to be arrogant. I've heard people associating your brand with arrogance. Do not let it stick. And here I'm quoting Otumfuo. Right? Yes, there were many who also think that Otumfuo overspoke. And in doing so, he gave himself out.
But let's listen to Otumfuo and exactly what he said.
Ma Dr. Bawumia no ho so wo yi wo. Ma Dr. Bawumia no so yi wo. E ma no ho so wo yi wo. Wo kwaya no kwaya sumpa na di na chi na di obekire wo na wo so wo ye. Wo kwaya sumpa ho blase Dem no kind of dem na America. Pa ho brase ko di akire na ye ne kama mame. Ya sitie na di ono ba kire wo na ye.
So that's a tune for there.
Yes.
Stressing and emphasizing on the humility.
Exactly.
And he had even earlier said that, some people are saying we need so hard here. But maybe me name says out here. Mantetosa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, I think what Napo said, I think he didn't really look at the implications.
Yeah.
For over 30 years, the UP tradition never had power.
Yeah.
So John Ejekun Kufuor won power in 2000.
Yeah.
He is an Ashanti.
Yeah.
That is his region.
Yes.
He's so far the only Ashanti that has mounted the highest office
Of
under
the
the
land.
Fourth Republic.
Yeah.
You don't go to his area.
But Kufuor isn't Kufuor. J. Kufuor and Ashanti.
That's the point he's making.
So you don't go to his area. It's Kufuor I'm referring to.
Yes, so you don't go to his area.
Yeah,
and
that is
then
Ashanti
belittle
region.
his
And
achievement.
belittle his achievement, and you get it.
But there's
can, like
also-
Ivy said, you can shower all the praise
But
you
you know-
want to
but you know also
on the
on-
current president without
Yeah.
denigrating. It is not binary.
It's-
It's
yeah,
not
it's
zero
not
plus
either
one
or.
minus one.
Yeah.
You get it. You can do it with a little bit of finesse, and I think that is what he lacked. And look, after the unveiling, what are we all talking about? What is trending?
Yeah.
He's
We
greater than
always say
Kwame
in
Nkrumah.
communication there is something we call noise.
Yeah.
You should try as much as possible
Well,
to do away with the noise.
noise,
Because
yeah.
if you don't take time, it will overshadow whatever good thing you may have done.
Yeah.
And that is where we find ourselves now.
Yeah.
Well, then, I mean, Napo also said that there's no doomsaw.
Yes, and I would have wished he had not repeated that.
Yeah.
Because whenever he
also
does
said there's no
that,
doomsaw.
there's a backlash on social media. That must count. You see, in politics, how people react to what you say must count.
He said
You've said it once, reacted negatively. Twice, reacted negatively. Said it in parliament, people reacted negatively. Avoid it. I don't know. Like, is it that, okay, maybe there's something we don't know. To be honest with you, politically, maybe there's something we don't know. But as far as political followers and political communication is concerned, when you say something and there's negative reaction, you avoid it. You don't repeat it.
and he's still repeating it. He
That's
still
the point.
repeated doom CSA.
Yeah.
There's no doomsaw like it was.
Because Asante has said that Doomso had affected his gadget.
Well, but
Asante Hene.
yeah, but I mean,
For us
everybody,
reason, I think he
everybody,
was compensated
Yes.
also. I think
everybody would agree that what we experienced under this administration in terms of the power outages is not as severe,
Of course.
as it was. So you can go along those lines
Yes.
and say that, well, there have been a few challenges here and there, but go
And-
back
and
and
look,
remember how bad it was.
was.
At least it's
And
not
then we
as
are
bad,
fixing
and
it.
we are fixing it. Yeah, that's a
even
better way
at
to
the issue of
communicate.
severity, I think it's relative. If I have a business and
Yeah.
as a result of the current erratic power supply, my business is suffering.
Yeah.
I think it's a severe
And,
amount.
and the amount I'm spending to buy fuel
Well,
now,
so, yeah.
as compared to how
Especially-
much I was spending to buy fuel then.
then,
Yeah.
So I think the dynamics are not the same.
Anyway, but as you can imagine, on the various newspapers, of course, headlines of Napo left, right, center. On the Daily Graphic newspaper, Napo unveiled. That's a big headline there. Also, ongoing BC, 16 teachers busted for infractions. 5 bid to invest 100 million in Sakalemi project. Oasis Capital raises 100 million US dollars to support SME. So these are the stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. And yeah, what do you have, IB?
Okay, I have the Ghanaian Times. VRA ponders Akosombo Dam spillage again. Seeks to engage stakeholders in catchment areas on exercise. Yes, and there's been a statement from VRA. It's going to start community engagement.
Right.
In that regard. And at least this time around, the message came quite ahead of time. And
They
the
should make sure that
members-
whoever needs to hear this message
Gets
and
it.
whatever that they need to do to make sure that those individuals who may be affected as if
Yeah.
is done.
Yes.
They need to make sure, because we don't want another disaster.
No, we don't. Napo unveiled as vice presidential candidate of MPP in Kumasi a proposed Ghana Standards Authority cement price regulation recipe for disaster. Chamber of Cement Manufacturers are saying prove Aflao ladies assault by immigration personnel. Speaker asked Interior Minister. And yeah, yesterday there's been a just viral video of an immigration officer holding a weapon and assaulting a woman physically. And yesterday it was raised on the floor of Parliament by the MP for the area, Jifa Gomashi, and the orders have been given consequentially for the Interior Minister to appear before the House with a briefing, and also for that incident to be probed. Yes, but
it's good news that the Speaker has shown interest, but what happened to the Ashaman brutality? What happened to the work of the Defense and Interior Committee? So if Parliament as an institution keep probing things and we don't get the final outcome, then it becomes a ridiculous. It becomes a charade, a ridiculous pretense.
Yeah, I agree, especially because the best Parliament can do get to the bottom of this, make your recommendations public. It's not like it's binding on the executive to implement your recommendations, right? No. But at least let your work be visible. Let your recommendations, if of course Ghana Armed Forces was actually indicted in the Ashaman brutality report, government was asked to pay compensation to the affected. Where is that? It's not been. Nobody's taking that up.
Nobody cares about works or recommendations. So when, anyway, we just hope that whoever did that shameful act at the flower border is dealt with.
Yeah. So the Greater Accra Metropolitan and Greater Kumasi Metropolitan Assemblies provide 1,400 household sanitary facilities monthly. So those toilet facilities that have been constructed. But in the 21st century, I wonder why assemblies will have to be providing toilet facilities.
But I thought there was a general policy that every household should have a toilet facility,
Accra.
right?
That was here in Accra, instituted by Oko van der Poy.
Yeah, it should be replicated across the board. In every single municipal, metropolitan or district assembly, it should be replicated. I don't see the reason why in the 21st century you should be putting up a house without, a toilet facility.
That's true.
But Emmanuel, what do you have?
Okay, the final one here is massive cleanup at Kwame Nkrumah interchange. That is it for the Ghanaian Times.
All right. Ghana's favorite newspaper, Daily Guide, is what I have. Bawumia Napo Sheikh Kumasi, story on page 3. Police pursue 7 over NPP Ayawaso West office attack. Nana commends German government, story on page 6. You can grab Daily Guide for the details. Back page of the Daily Guide. I let Brazil down. Madrid star Vinicius Jr. is rendering this apology, and Insutraman passion for football is huge. These are the lead stories in the Daily Guide.
All right, I've got the Daily Herald newspaper, or the Herald newspaper. Truth stands. That is their tagline. And they say, Asantehene warns Napo over arrogant label. Don't make Bawumia regret choosing you as a running mate. And it's interesting when you look at the video when Otumfuo Osei Tutu was speaking, some of the videos that are around, when you look at when Otumfuo Osei Tutu II was speaking and was talking to Napo, he was seated right by Mahamadou Bawumia, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia. And Mahamadou Bawumia was all smiles. The vice president was all smiles. Napo was sitting there in his kente. And the facial expression on Napo's face was like he was annoyed. He looked like he had fried. I don't know if you've seen that video.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've taken.
I saw it. I'm sure it's just a facial reaction.
I know. But he looked like he had frowned. Like I mean, why do people keep on saying that I am arrogant? Kind of vibe.
Did you hear Kennedy Japan?
I heard Kennedy Japan.
At the point, I felt like they didn't want him to conclude his remarks with the way he was going. He was actually inciting once again the party supporters against the leadership. That when I talk about pomposity and arrogance, people fail to listen to me. They refuse to listen to me. Have you seen that they are now kneeling before you? Yeah, that's what he said. Have you realized that they are now kneeling before you? And I said,
hey. Positioner. I say, Bible they say. And was said, who percent we or can before an answer we leader, you must first be a servant of the people. Yeah, you say, Branabenti of mine and our party anymore. And don't just say you lord yourself over the people. Answer and then I can be someone nipa be here, answer Masaba Monano, Apamonsa. Mommy and Fanya at the Siade Nayanko house to house. Obia ya offending no Yentimi and Camp Casadin Chirano. Now with unity we'll break the age. Yamishra Muina.
Akompreko.
Akompreko.
Yes.
Has been forgotten. The fact that they need to.
I wonder who he was referring to. Who is the Akakabensem?
But certainly not Napo.
Who are the Akakabensem people?
Napo is Ken's boy. Yeah, he's talking about, he said, Omo Pese Omo Candy for. So he's talking about those who are in the flag bearership race. Yes. So he spoke to you. So yeah, Omo no Pese Omo.
Omo no me Akakabensem. No one can say
Omo Peja Omo Beti. Pomposity.
That's what Akakabensem means.
Okay.
All right, sure.
Anyway,
still on the Herald, Akufo-Addo allowed Cousin Oforiatta to damage the economy. That's according to John Mahama. Also, YEA boss comments youth in agric program. Bonas family got Momo from me regularly. Iyoko boss reveals closeness and denies threats. Oh, wow. So, Mami Tiwa of Iyoko was sending Momo regularly to Adam Bonas family.
Allow cash out.
Allegedly. Dumso situation under firm control, says Herbert Krapper at vetting. The vetting that the minority decided that they were going to boycott. So that's the Herald newspaper. What else do you have?
They came to the vetting ground to announce their boycott. They could not call their own press conference. They used the same disco that has been called for the vetting to play their own song and dance, and after they dropped the mic and left. Anyway, the inside this morning, economic hardship, why fuel prices are affecting cost of living in Ghana. We are not in price control regime, it should read. Guta warns government against moves to regulate cement prices, and the next government will choke under heavy debt burden, Setekwe predicts, and hundreds protest NATO summit in Washington, D.C. That is it for the insight this morning.
The Daily Statesman is the next paper I have, and go and serve Baumia in humility as Antony charges Napo. Baumia, Napo is a result-oriented person. Educhum lauds YX efforts against examination malpractice, and Manchester NPP youth TESCON reaffirm commitment. Back page of the Statesman newspaper, Blasters warned against complacency in 2025 AFCON qualifiers, and Inaki Williams begins early preseason with Atletico Bilbao.
Okay, so let's come to the Daily Dispatch newspaper. The burial of Miss Joanne Epson. May her soul rest in perfect peace. You can take a look at that on the front page of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Beneficence Daily Dispatch newspaper. Also on the front page, apart from the good rapport between us, Napo can help me get over 80% in the Ashanti region. And guess who is saying this? This is Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. Who is saying this? Also, AG and the GBA support CJ's request for 5 more Supreme Court judges. And let's prioritize digital systems to deliver road infrastructure. That's according to the Chief of Staff, Kusia Fremao Pario says. So these are the stories on the Daily Dispatch newspaper.
Daily Post this morning, 11 CSOs rubbish Napo. They describe him as a tribalist, arrogant, corrupt, and incompetent.
11 CSOs?
Yes, I think it was led by ASEPA, right? Mensa Thompson.
So who are the CSOs?
The names are
apart from ASEPA, who are the other CSOs?
I think Arise Ghana is one of them. Bernard Mona is Arise Ghana.
Arise Ghana is one of them.
Yeah, a few others.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ranting and shouting, Napo proves in his speech that he's empty after he was unveiled as Baumia's running mate. Yeah. I think that the party will hold another formal engagement where we will hear Napo's vision, because yesterday's address was meant for the party.
Napo's vision?
Yeah.
What vision again?
Your vision,
Baumia's vision is Napo's vision. So Baumia's vision is Napo's vision.
What he is going to do to ensure that vision is
exactly. That's the point.
Napo should have one vision. His vision is Baumia's vision.
No, but you should tell us that. That's the point. See, we didn't get that yesterday, so you should tell us that.
Yesterday we got
an address to the party, which is a strategy, and of course, like I said, it's a strategy, political strategy.
Right, and yesterday also we understood that the greatest president in the history of Ghana is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Those were
no sides.
Those were what you call asides.
Let me look for his song and play it. Nana a winner.
Yeah, ENI Vitor case. Ghana ordered to pay £189,000 court fee to claimant. see, yesterday I said this.
Yeah,
and
but we still have 7 billion that we didn't pay.
Somebody was let me just break it down in 1 minute.
Break it
see,
down.
E&I have spent 7 billion in developing the field, the oil field, and we're asking them to unitize with Springfield, right? So that's an investment they had made, and they are saying that if we are losing that investment, then give us back. Yeah. Now the court says no, there should not be unitization. So why should the court say pay the people 7 billion?
Because we flouted our own.
No, that's the point. They now have the field. The block is for them. Yeah. So the court will never ask them for you to pay them the money.
Yeah. No,
you get the point.
Yeah.
So they actually won. They won. You wanted them to unitize. The court says no.
Their issue is against the unitization.
That's the point.
And it looks like they are throwing dust into our eyes, and they are not properly breaking it down for us to understand what happened. The focus is there's a certain 7 billion that they were demanding, and the court said we shouldn't pay, and so we have won the case.
Yes.
But then the crux of the issue and the main reason why these individuals went to courts, they had it.
Yes.
And that's how disingenuous
that simple. But
this whole thing is.
We deliberately complicate things just to misinform others.
Anyway, so and then we are paying their court fees too. That's it. So lack of textbooks for BEC students. If we had one, why would they ask us to pay their court fee?
Hey, Charlie, this one.
And then we are here touting, and a lot of outlets were reporting based on what the AG said. Departments had issued in the statement.
I think what didn't work for the AG this time around is that Chef Smith taught us that
we
need to listen slowly
and then check.
But there are people.
But it wasn't widespread.
Oh yeah.
But for the Chef Smith incident, a lot of media houses would have gone to town with the AG statement.
Yeah. Another headline here, lack of textbooks for BEC students since 2019 and embarrassment. That's according to Dr. Clement Apak. Yeah.
All right.
The Daily Searchlight newspaper. Do you know their tagline, Lantam?
The Daily Searchlight newspaper.
In service to God and country.
Okay.
All right, so let's see what they are serving us this morning. Muhammad's hopeless pledges glitz Ghana's pliant media. Story on page 2. Islamic clerics demand secession act. Also, Dr. Educhum praises WAEC for efforts towards curtailing exams malpractice. We have enough to showcase to Ghanaians. Fatima Abubakar, Information Minister, is making this claim. And when she special needs student uses math to write BEC.
Yes.
All right.
So final news I have is a chronicle. Don't let Baumia regret his decision. Otunfo tells Napo. Baumia unveils Napo in Kumasi. Cement price should have been 35 Ghana cedis more. That's according to the Cement Manufacturers Association.
35 Ghana cedis more.
Meaning they are
so currently it's over 105 or 110 cedis.
110 cedis.
So they are telling us that it should have been 135.
45.
Wow.
It should have been 145.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for the Chronicle newspaper. On the front page of the New Crusading Guide newspaper, Napo is results-oriented, Baumia tells NPP supporters. Let's take you now to the Ashanti region, and Julius Caesar Anadem is joining us on the phone line. Julius Caesar Anadem is a man in the Ashanti region. Of course, he's host of a Cup of Tea on Ultimate 106.9 FM, and of course, he's in charge of all the news that comes to the AIB network from the Ashanti region. We're happy to have him here on the line today. He'll help us understand exactly what has been happening in Kumasi during the unveiling of Napo as running mate to Dr. Baumia, and of course, what has been happening on the ground, how people have been receiving him and all of that. Mr. Anadem, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Star.
Good morning, Lanza Papanko.
Thank you very much for joining us. So, you've been on the ground, you've been monitoring things. Yesterday, the unveiling was done. Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh and the MPP entourage all went to Otumfo Osei-Tutu II, and from there, they proceeded to the Jackson Park for a big rally for his unveiling. What has it been like in Kumasi?
Well, I must tell you that, indeed, as you said, it was a twin event yesterday, separated just by a distance. One happened at the Mesha Palace, where, knowing the background of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, popularly known as Napo, he's a royal coming from the Apija field and all of that. He had to pay homage to his royals, and for that matter, the monarch and for the king of the Ashanti region, Otumfo Osei-Tutu II. And I can tell you that it was built to happen around somewhere 11. At least that was with the communication that came to the media. But that had to drag for some time now, knowing how things are done at Menchia. But let me take you to the crust of what happened on the ground. At that particular moment, was when the MPP leadership, including the president, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, presented officially, formally, Napo to the king, and also seek his blessings for his son. And it was an interesting sight. You would expect MPP faithfuls to throng the palace, and that did happen. Along the line, when you're heading to the palace, there were all kinds of paraphernalia, flags, and other things, hoisting, flying, lots of supporters, I saw buses there, somewhere where in the buses, somewhere around the buses, somewhere in the forecourt proper of Menchia when the introduction was being done. And as usual, the political antics will be displayed there. But there was a crucial conversation, or actually admonition, that came from Otumfuo prior to Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh's choice to partner Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, or several names came up. And in the end, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia settled on Napo. One key tag that had been making around was an arrogance tag that was pushed on Napo's neck, and people cited several instances where they felt Napo hadn't spoken well, Napo had shown some bit of arrogance and all of that. And I can say Otumfuo took the opportunity to address all gathered and said, well, he has trained Napo, and he was quite surprised with what he saw or what he heard from the media and elsewhere about the arrogant style, because the Napo he trained is not arrogant and all of that. And there was some jubilation cheers from the crowd there. And he admonished him that he shouldn't fail Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as he's picked him. He shouldn't make him regret picking him. And if you speak to persons who have been analyzing that particular speech of the king, they say, well, it contained a bit of some admission that indeed Napo would come out as perhaps roses or some form of roses, which will come with some tongues. Napo will come up with, just like any other human being, that would come up with some issues. But whatever be the case, he should show respect to whoever picked him to partner him. So obviously, there was some huge expectation that if indeed this counsel has been given from the king, in terms of communication from yesterday to whenever the campaign is going to be and whenever the two of them are going to be declared as winners, that if Ghanaians are going to give them the nod, there should be some form of communication coming through from the pair, especially Napo, that is quite clean. Now let me take you to the second aspect of the event, because I told you it's a twin event, and that was at the Jubilee Park. Several individuals came to grace the occasion, including the president. He was there. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia himself, he was there, and quite a number of the individuals that contested Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for the flag bearership position, they were there, led by Kennedy Japan. They all spoke. And at that particular moment, Kennedy Japan said so many things, and one key thing he said that I can tell you galvanized the base of the party, the grassroots of the party, was that issue of disrespect, that issue whereby persons within the party do not show loyalty, persons within the party more or less walk over the grassroots, quote and unquote, because they do not see them as persons befitting of the party. When they win elections, they just do anything to persons within that bracket. Now, Kennedy Japan urged the leadership of the party to make sure they draw such people together and make sure they are united ahead of the 2024 election. So there were speeches from the regional chairman, he spoke, there were speeches from the president and all of that. And when it came to the outdooring of Napo and an opportunity was given to him to speak, he said so many things. But one thing he said that perhaps caught the eyes of so many people who said, you just got some form of counseling from Menchia about your engagement. And for an event of this kind, you don't expect NAPO to take people on, especially the former president, the founder of this country, as he's seen in some respect, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, where some form of comparisons were made. If you speak to persons who were around there, well, for the MPP person, well, some of them were excited about that. And some of them said, why? Nkrumah can be compared. What he's done and what others have done, you can put it on a scale and measure. And for them, if NAPO said the Nana Addo administration has done far better even than Nkrumah, so be it. But for some, they said, no, this was not the moment for such conversations. And he also made reference to that popular saying, we know that's been used by former President Akamels, who during his campaigns within the central region and elsewhere used such phrases or such communication. Well, some said no. For an event of this nature, that type of communication was not needed because you are rallying everybody on the ground. And knowing how the demographics of the Ashanti region is, it is not just made up of Ashantis per se. You would find the particular location where this event came from. There are quite a number of settler communities around. And for NAPO to make such a statement was far-fetched and all of that. So the analysis keeps going, depending on who you're speaking to, depending on who you are engaging. Some are excited about it. Some are excited that indeed NAPO is the operations person. NAPO is going to be the grassroots person. Maybe the dirty job is going to be done by him, not by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Again, it's going to be done by Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. As to whether that is going to work for the party coming days, obviously, would make us understand that type of communication. If indeed it was just a blip, or perhaps something to ginger the grassroots of the party.
Now, when you look at the Ashanti region, which is a stronghold of the NPP, and the fact that NAPO is from Menchia, and we know how in high esteem the people of Kumasi and the Ashanti region hold the Otumfo Osei Tutu. So with NAPO's roots from the palace and also as a grassroots person, and also standing on that platform and trying to energize the base of the party in the aftermath of all of this, from your estimation, would you say people have been galvanized? People in the Ashanti region, in their conversations and what they've been saying in the aftermath of this rally and his unveiling, have they been galvanized? Are they throwing their weight strongly behind the NPP? There was talk of winning 85%
yeah,
of the votes in the Ashanti region. I mean, are people rallying behind that? What is the general sentiment in that regard?
Well, I must tell you, it's early days yet, because if you drive around the Ashanti region, I'm not talking about Kumasi, if you drive around the Ashanti region, as much as there are a few construction and other developmental projects ongoing, residents are not enthused about the type of development that this government under Nana Addo Bawumia has given the region, knowing the number of votes they give the party and all of that. So if you speak to individuals who I would say are not the very diehard NPP fanatics and all of that, you get that sense that no, they feel the NPP under the Nana Addo administration has led the party or the region down. So we can only monitor the development within the coming days. But if you look at the man NAPO himself, he became member of parliament for Menchia somewhere 2009, after the 2008 elections and all of that. And if you monitor his numbers, one would say his numbers have been dropping over the years. His numbers have been dropping. Whether that is some level of apathy, whether that is some level of dislike, whether that is some level of he not perhaps doing so much for the constituency, I cannot right now talk about it unless perhaps we do further breakdown and analysis of the figures. But indeed, for the die-hard NPP person, well, they have seen somebody who they believe can help put in some, energy into their campaign to those individuals who may not be the diehard NPP, yes, they may have some soft spots for the NPP. They still are feeling a bit somewhere in the negative. They feel certain things have not been done right within the party. You meet them, they will still talk about Alan leaving the party. That perhaps unwritten communication that suggested Nana was going to hand over to him to take over. That is still around. And mind you, there are some big wigs within the party who perhaps are not excited about some of the development. Well, you find out that they are not coming out openly to talk about it, but when you meet them one-on-one, you get that sense that they are not enthused with all that is happening, whether it's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia leading the party, being the flag bearer, going into a major election like this, going in there, well, they are not happy about that. Whether it's Matthew Opoku Prempeh partnering him from Amenshia, they are not happy about that because, mind you, yes, indeed, Napo comes from the royal house, but this is politics. It's about a game of numbers. It's about development for the region as well. And people are looking at that. If the NPP has not performed in that regard, well, they will have certain choices to make come December 7th.
Very well, Julius Caesar, then we'll leave it here. I know that you have to get on air and give the people of Kumasi a cup of tea, and so we'll leave you to do that.
Thank you very much, Tamba Banco.
Julius Caesar, them there speaking to us from Kumasi. He's our man at Ultimate FM, and he's the man in charge of the news there, helping us, understand, from the perspective of someone in the Ashanti region, how all of this has been playing out in the aftermath of the unveiling of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as running mate of the new Patriotic Party's presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. You're still listening to The Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM. It's also live on Empire FM in Takoradi. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.